I'm going to talk a bit about live streaming. These are some slides from a longer talk on this subject, so I will skip through them a little, and I'm actually probably going to dwell on one project in particular that taught me a lot recently. But I run a production company called Inner Ear, and one of our specialisms is in live streaming, so capturing live content. We started in 2000 and launched an internet radio station called Radio Magnetic, which was our flagship project. It's still going, but it's kind of in the background really these days. But we've got some other creative projects, an audio walking tour series called Walking Heads, and we've started a new traditional music web TV channel called Trad TV, and they all incorporate a bit of liveness. But yeah, we do live streaming is one of the specialisms that we have. Where's the computer? Because I'm not sure where to point it at. So I'm just trying to see if there's, because there are so many different things involved in streaming. Yeah, hang on. Right, that you need to kind of get your head around. This is a slide that you can see that explains, hopefully reasonably simply, all the different elements to it, because in capturing and conveying a live event, you need to be able to pick up the sound. You've got the cameras. This feeds into a vision mixer, an audio mixer, which you can then monitor. You have to delay the audio usually because the computer will capture audio slightly quicker than it will video, so you need to synchronize them. Then record it to hard disk. It's then captured via device into a streaming computer, and then through some kind of broadband connection goes to a streaming server online and is then distributed to the online audience. There are loads of different bits to all of these elements in the chain, if you like, and it's particularly in reference to one big event that we stream every year that I wanted to talk about really. So let's see, there are loads of different interesting events that we've streamed over the years, but this one I think I'll dwell on. The Glenfiddich Piping Championship, which takes place every year from Blair Castle in Blair Athol. It is, for anyone who's not an enthusiastic bagpipe fan, because you might not be, but it is the foremost solo bagpiping competition in the world. And so pipers like to compete. It's a sport-like enthusiasm that they have for this, and essentially these people are the very best in the world, and so it's quite difficult to really hear that much difference in them because they're all incredibly good at what they do, but there's an online audience who go absolutely nuts for it, and it's quite amazing watching the comments because they're so heavily engaged. John was talking about engaging content that can explode through the web, and a lot of the time when we stream things live, I will ask people, obviously if somebody comes to us and wants to commission us to stream something, I'm very happy to do that, but I do want to know why they want to stream it, because there has to be a purpose for doing it, because there are so many things that can go wrong with trying to do a live broadcast, and especially as live TV and radio is one thing, but usually there is a significantly greater budget and array of equipment and expertise and crew with broadcast TV and radio than there would be in a streaming project. You know, like for us, a big budget might be 10 or 20 grand, often a lot less. Sometimes do things for hundreds of pounds. And so you, of course, talking about a lot less kit, a lot less crew. So the crew have to be very agile and problem solve on their feet all the time. So, you know, it's not always appropriate to stream something live but something like a competition where there's, especially where there are competitors from around the world, you can see the point in it and the validity of streaming something live. So this one is particularly challenging though, because there's no, well, there isn't really an adequate internet connection in the castle. So 4 years ago, we brought in this mobile broadband device that's got 3 SIM cards in it. And until Saturday, I would have said that it adds the bandwidth from the SIM cards together, but I learned after having used it for 4 years that that's not actually what it does. It picks the best connection at that second and pushes the data down it, and then if the other card is better, the following second it'll push the data down that one. And so there's that side of it. The first 2 years we did it, it worked really well, and we were able to broadcast some fairly high quality, because Mark was telling me that we've been experimenting with using Periscope. Are you doing it today?
We did it for the first speaker, but we're just going to use the videos for the next two.
Ironic that you don't stream live my talk, but fraught with bandwidth issues, probably just as well actually. Yeah, the better quality of the picture, and we're quite spoiled now in the web being able to see HD video reasonably easily and accessibly. You can shoot fairly good video on phones. I mean, they need a lot of light, and you need to think about how to compose it. But you can actually get reasonable quality from phones. But one of the sort of bugbears for me of a job like this is the setup is quite a big operation. Got 6 people in the crew, got 3 cameras, only one of them operated in the hall due to sort of space constraints and the need to be as invisible as possible, because the pipers are allergic to any potential distraction. So they will blame anything for a glitch in their playing that could result in not, in being marked down by the judges. And so the maintenance guy at the castle is like, they're looking for anything to blame for a mistake, and you don't want to be it. So we had to hide. The reason they black out the windows, because a lot of it takes place all through the day into the evening, is because a peacock jumped up onto the windowsill one year and started pecking the window during one of the performances. So that peacock was quite bold, came right up to the truck that we were broadcasting from. So I have been always really quite keen on trying to get as much bandwidth as possible from the internet connection that we're using, so that we can broadcast, because you can actually stream in 720p HD. You can stream in 1080 if you had the equipment, but it's ridiculous really, because you can't, many of the viewers won't have adequate bandwidth to watch it. But especially as we've got great quality equipment on site, and what we're recording to hard disk that you can now go and watch the archive footage of looks great, and so it'd be wonderful to be able to get that out there in that quality. However, you have to use what you can get, and the first 2 years, as I say, using this mobile broadband device worked really well. Then last year we were fraught with problems with it, and we had to crunch the picture quality, and therefore the amount of bandwidth we were using would be less. Crunch it down because the mobile broadband we were getting from this box just wasn't as good, and I couldn't really understand why that would be. So this year we took a specialist with us who provides mobile temporary internet installations for stadiums, concerts, music festivals and so on, big outdoor event stuff. He brought this huge antenna that pointed straight at the cell tower and got a perfect connection to the tower, but then the amount of internet data that he can get from that depends on what the tower itself has got. But he went up and did a couple of tests, talking to the castle people a lot. I was pretty confident, and I was glad that was out of my hands, because it stretches the limits of my understanding to get involved in this stuff. And really I want to be there. My I'm a producer, and so I want to be producing the TV show of the the performances, and then we do lots of interviews through the day and get lots of additional content. And our testing on Friday, there's, as I say, there's so many different bits and pieces that you need to think about. You could be scuppered for not having one small adapter, or even forgetting something as mundane as enough tape or something like that to tape cables down, you know, can severely hamper you. There are so many, there's a load of prep goes into this, a load of planning. The team are fully briefed, you know, they're all extremely good at what they do. We do go to the pub on Friday night after having set up and drink quite a few whiskies, but you know, it's kind of part of it, or it's become a tradition, as in the BBC crew who record it for a radio show. But on Friday evening, everything was great, everything was set up and ready, doing some streaming testing, and it was going fine. And, oh, good, yeah, the quality's pretty good, pretty happy with this. There seems to be enough bandwidth to broadcast fairly high resolution. And then it just started to slump, and the computer started to struggle, and saying it kept losing the connection, and it just wasn't connecting. And we thought, oh, what is this? Is this just an evening busy internet kind of problem? And it seemed to be. And me and Alan, the internet specialist, were quite concerned. It never left our minds all through the evening. And the next morning at breakfast, before we went up to the castle, we were still a bit uneasy, and he said, I've been doing some tests this morning, looks like it's a lot better. It must just have been congestion during the evening. It's a daytime broadcast, we should be all right. There's a caravan park near the castle. Alan went to the park and just made sure, you know, have you got many people? Will people be on Netflix on the rainy day in their caravans? And not that that would be all that problematic for us, because it's upload capacity we want, not down, but no, not many people in the caravan park, but we just couldn't get connected at all, couldn't get online at all. We could, well, then managed to get online, but it was a sub 14k dial-up connection. It was like being transported 20 years into the past and trying to load any kind of basic HTML web page that would take 12 minutes, and then you realise you mistyped the address. And it was, and it was, you know, it was horrible, because everything else was ready. We've got great pre-recorded content that we've done the day before, interviews with pipers. We've got a presenter who's all ready to go with the intro. We've got, you know, all the crews up and ready. We just can't get online. So what's the point of us being there in a way? I mean, we do also capture all of this stuff and put the perfect quality recordings up online a few days later, but it's a competition. People tune in from all over the world. They get up in the middle of the night or stay up really late in New Zealand and Canada, all over America, all over Africa, South America, Australia. It's become quite a big deal. 400 people or so are in the hall, and this year, despite problems that I'm about to elaborate on, 6,500 people watched. So it dramatically increases the reach of the event. And Glenfiddich don't actually do this as a piece of brand marketing, but because we stream it and there's a lot of Twitter chatter about it, it becomes a piece of brand marketing. And so all of this weighs very heavy on my shoulders when I'm not able to get online. I did actually utter the phrases while I was scrabbling about with trying to get two different computers on different networks online at some point. Oh, I don't want this, I can't handle this, I don't want to be here, I'm not having fun. And so then Alan came to me and said, shall we use the castle's internet connection? It's only got about 300 kilobits upstream, and that is very low upload capacity these days. We really want at least 5 times that, if not 10 times that, to broadcast. Even not that high quality, just to be a sort of SD TV quality. We'd want about 4 or 5 times that much capacity at least. And so I was like, well, no, not really, what can we do with that? It's like, well, why don't we get that? And then you can see what you can do with that, and then I'll try and get the mobile thing working. And so he had to then fix the castle's internet connection, which is broken, go to their comms room, patch it in run a cable out of this turret into some, like down to this antenna that he brought with him, a transmitter he brought with him, beam it across the car park to the back of the truck that we were in, patch it through the truck's internet network into our system, which would have been beyond me whilst trying to troubleshoot several other things that you can handle a few things going wrong, but all of this happening at the same time was why I uttered those very dismal expressions. And I crunched the picture quality down as much as possible, kept the audio still pretty good, because you can compress audio a lot more than video without losing quality, noticeably anyway. And people, there was a lot of very unhappy people who'd been up for 2 hours on the other side of the world waiting for their favourite pipers that they wanted. So these people are really avid fans, and so there was a kind of a mass celebration when we did get online, and a lot of forgiveness for the fact that there had been problems in the first place, and someone apparently posted a comment saying, "Why didn't you just get on Periscope on 4G?" Well, we had 4G, we didn't have this issue. But I learned that it is far better to stream at any quality at all, rather than trying to pursue something akin to TV, because people just want to see it. They'll forgive the low quality because they just want to be part of the live event. They want to have that privileged access to it. And that was a valuable lesson. I wouldn't have thought that I could have made it work stably the whole day, perfectly, albeit at a low res, at such a low, such scant resources. But you have to use what you've got. And it was after 15 years of working with live streaming, I guess pioneering it to some degree, and constantly striving to improve on what we're doing something as kind of fundamental as that was really interesting to me, and taught me a lot about sometimes almost good enough is the best way to be, because I can't bear to think about if we hadn't been able to stream it live at all, because there's such an expectation. And I think, we set the bench we set the bar quite high the first 2 years because it went so well, and then last year it went okay, and then this year we had all these problems. So now the castle's going to try and upgrade their internet connection in preparation for next year. But also now I'm going to just strive to get the content out there however we can, and all the perfect quality stuff can always be got online later. But it's really exciting to be part of a live event that's shared experience with thousands of people around the world. The World Pipe Band Championships, which we watched by 71,000 unique viewers around the world, and it's incredible to bring that to people. And I think I still don't know what I think about services like Periscope and Meerkat because of the quality thing, and because I come from a more professional production perspective, I guess. But I also do like the immediacy of it, and the fact that you can just start streaming something and an audience can watch it and get engaged. So yeah, because this is all so fresh and raw in my mind, I thought I would share the experience with you, because it's interesting to me how you can try to work with what you've got and reach people around the world, however that may be. There's loads of things I could talk about in terms of streaming if people are interested in, so perhaps in the Q&A we delve into that, or you can come and chat to me afterwards. Thanks very much.